Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has just released, and this is my first impressions. Hello and welcome to the Critically Curious. I'm the Monk, and today, yes, we are doing a video on Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This has to be one of the biggest games of the year that has released. This is highly anticipated, so it's really interesting to see just what this game has to offer. Now, unless you were born under a rock, you probably already know what this game has got to offer you. This is a first-person action adventure in which you essentially are in a movie. You're in a Indiana Jones movie. In this game, you're going to be experiencing very familiar scenes from other Indiana Jones movies, as well as seeing familiar faces as well. I absolutely love how they have recreated that classic scene of Indy just trying to run as fast as he can from a giant boulder threatening to splat him like a pancake. Now, at one point, this was supposed to be Xbox's biggest, mainstream release. It wasn't meant to be on anything else. At least that's what we thought. However, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle actually releases on PlayStation 5, Steam, and Xbox at the same time. Now, yes, Indiana Jones from day one is on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, this game's absolutely free for you to play. This is a AAA rated game. There's a couple of different bundles of choices. I believe the most expensive version of this game is $99.99. So it's definitely a AAA valued game. This game has been developed by Machine Games, who you might be familiar made the Wolfenstein franchise. Now, if you enjoy Indiana Jones, the movies, you're probably absolutely going to love this game. And if you own Game Pass, there's no reason why you shouldn't download it and give it a go for yourselves. If you have ever played Tomb Raider or Uncharted, I believe both those two games took inspiration from the Indiana Jones movies. The difference this time around is this is actually Indy. You are Indiana Jones playing within that world with very, very familiar game mechanics. Now, of course, you've got everything that you would expect. You have your trusty bullwhip. You've got an iconic face when those cutscenes kick in. And, of course, you never want to lose your hat. You got pretty decent, workable stealth mechanics as well. And I think one of the things I like the most about this game is accessibility. When you very first start the game, you have the option to change the difficulty. You can change the difficulty of the game itself. You can also change the difficulty of the puzzles. And I think these things can really help, means that anyone at any level can just pick up this game and have a go. Another thing I quite liked is you're able to pick up the weapons of the enemies that you take out, which I think sometimes some games just, completely forget. So I've been able to pick up all kinds of random weapons within this game so far, including a violin and or the strum that you use, as well as bottles and rakes and sticks and batons and everything else besides. The game really does do a good job at making you feel like you are inside those movies. At times, though, I do feel like the cutscenes are a bit much. Especially at the beginning of the game, it does feel like it wants the whole thing to be a cutscene, and it gives you and offers you little movements that you can do. And I'm just like, please just give me the cutscene that you actually want me to see in the first place. But it was pretty enjoyable just running around the school that Indy is supposed to be working at or being a professor at. Seeing the level of detail that they seem to have put in that building, considering the little time that you're actually in there, is really, really interesting. No Spence spared when it comes to actors that they've got to actually come into this game as well. I do think they have a bit of a strange choice, though, to make this a first-person action game when they've clearly paid Harrison Ford a lot of money to be able to use his likeness. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of cutscenes to fill the void, and so you can definitely see who you're playing as quite often, but still, it is a bold choice. When it comes to combat, I did find it slightly clunky. Like, for instance, the logic behind this guy here. I was just dancing around a table, and he just didn't seem to be able to figure out that he had to go around the table to come and get me. I think AI logic should be improved there quite a bit. But that's only a little thing, really. But in general, the fighting itself was just a little bit clunky and lacked a little bit of grit. The cutscenes were perfection. They were really, really good, movie-like at times, and totally immersive.
Latin? Well, that is a novelty.
Come on, Marcus. We need to find out what he took.
Yes, righto. This display case has...
I may have only played a few hours of Indiana Jones: The Great Circle as far, but I've got to say that I've enjoyed what I've played. It's worked very, very well, very, very smooth. I am playing on the Xbox Series X. It looks great, it feels great, it definitely sounds great. I've had no dashboards or glitches or any noticeable lag of any kind. It's played very, very well. And despite only being a couple of hours into the game or a few hours into the game, there have been noticeable puzzles already. And I think that's what I'm probably most looking forward to, is the adventure action side of it. You know, diving into caves, diving into forests, and trying to figure out these puzzles. I've been pleasantly surprised with how they've handled it, and I'm interested to see the differences between the different settings that this game has to offer as well, just how much they dull down a puzzle or how complicated some of them may be. I am a little bit disappointed when it comes to the combat. I did mention that earlier. I think that maybe something needs to be tweaked or with that, but perhaps later in the game it gets a little bit more intense. We're going to have to see how that actually evolves. But personally, I'm completely down for just how many cutscenes are in this game. There are a lot of cutscenes in this game. But I have been really enjoying it. I am a fan. I grew up watching these on TV, these movies on TV. And so if you did so, I think you're going to enjoy this game regardless. If you didn't and you're not a fan of Indiana Jones in general, then this game really just may be missing the mark for you completely. However, I think that time will tell. I think that has a surprisingly short runtime for a game of this value, considering it's £99 and 99 pence. It only has a 15-hour runtime. Obviously, you could be playing it for a little bit longer, depending on how fast you're going to be completing these puzzles, but I do think that is on the shorter end when you consider just how much this game actually costs. Now, I'm certainly not going to give a rating for this game just yet. This is a first impressions after all, not a full review. But at the moment, we're going to see how this game ends. And then once it does, I'll come out with a full review and let you know if I think it's actually worth your money or not. But if you've had a chance to play this game, let us know down in the comments what you think. How hyped are you for it? Is it value for money for you? Are you playing it on Game Pass, or are you one of the guys that actually brought it on PlayStation 5? But until next time, I've been a monk who's been critically curious, and I'll see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy and happy gaming.